So you can look at this as a pause in the action if you're taping, and certainly we're going to take that section where we will break our broadcast into sections. So when we get to that point in our review of what we've done, we're going to that will be a pause section. We're going to take that out.
Great.
Now, you read about giving. And what I want our audience to understand is money is not everything. When God says give, he's not always talking about money.
Right.
But sometimes giving folks wisdom, giving folks ideas, giving folks encouragement, giving folks a as we used to say when I worked at IBM, give them an attaboy. You know, 5 attaboys equal to 1 slice of light bread.
Okay. Well, that ain't making a sandwich for me. Because okay.
So when you get 5 attaboys from me, just think of
a slice of bread.
A slice of bread. I just got a sandwich.
I got a sandwich.
One part of a sandwich.
Which sandwich is that? I wish I had me in that sandwich.
So it's not necessarily a spam sandwich, but a sandwich.
It's a sandwich.
It's a sandwich.
I got you.
Now, what's next on our 30 things to do right now? What's next on our list?
It says start listening to your own inner voice.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Now you know I can run with that.
Yeah, all the way.
Because your inner voice is always talking to you.
Here's the thing I always want to share before you start mentioning that. Yes, listen to your inner voice. Just be careful when you start answering it back audibly without announcing.
I know
you do. Yeah, I think I've been around you long enough to know you do have an answer for that one.
My mama said,
I'm listening.
When she was alive, she said, I like talking to myself.
Right.
Because I like hearing someone intelligent speak.
Wow. Good answer, Mom.
Okay.
So for those of you out there that talk to yourselves,
don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
Mm.
Because if you should answer yourself, make sure it's the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
Intelligently, I like that word.
An
intelligent answer.
You see, the thing about listening to that inner voice is we self-talk all the time. Some of us self-talk out loud.
Correct.
But we use self-talk when we're making decisions. We use self-talk when we're angry. We use self-talk as we're driving down the street in our car. Even when we move this way, we move that way, we hit the brakes. If somebody suddenly stops, or for those not so smart people that text while you're driving,
mm-hmm.
you're still doing some self-talk, but your attention is diverted in the wrong way, to the wrong place. Not just in your car. That's an example of not using self-talk the way it should be, because we're looking down. We may be looking too far inward to a hurt or a pain or a choice that maybe we need to seek some advice on. Certainly ask the questions to ourselves in a manner that we can find a silver lining in it.
Sure.
We can ask that question, Lord, what am I to learn from this?
Correct.
God, show me what you need me to learn.
Correct.
Show me a better way. Show me how I can be better to me so I can choose to be better to someone else.
And I like what it says. It says, if it helps, discuss your ideas with those closest to you. but give yourself enough room to follow your own intuition.
Correct.
Be true to yourself and say what you need to say. Do what you know that's in your heart.
Okay.
And a lot of times when we have self-talk or self-inner voice, always preface it by what is the motivation behind the self-talk. What is motivating that your answers or your self-talk? Because the motivation behind it, with the results that it ends up with, is where the positiveness will come from. So it's always the motive, which is true to form when I do my self-talk or listen to my inner voice. Because conversely, I can also talk negative and self-talk myself or hear that inner voice telling me, because it's that old proverbial illustration in self-talk or inner voice. You got that one thing on one side, you got that other on the other side. It's which voice are you listening to? And make sure you're motivated by the right things to listen to the right voice to get the positive response and positive action that you're looking for.
I have a question for my masterminds here.
Coaches. Not mentees anymore, remember?
Yeah, we passed mentees.
Okay.
We're going to mental fresh.
The question is, with motivation, should we not, in our self-talk, when we are confronted with situation, positive and negative, before we choose to get angry, before we choose a reaction, should we not choose to ask ourselves, what is the other person's motivation? What is their reasoning for doing what they're doing? What is their agenda for taking or making this decision, behavior?
Well, when you ask that question on my behalf and thinking about that, it's very difficult in my respect. I can consider what their motives and their actions are, but because I don't know and can't read their minds, the only thing I find out that I have true control over is myself. And whether it's negatively done towards me or negative or positively done, I can't be in judgment, or I try not to be in judgment of whatever their motives are in many occasions, because I choose, which you've been teaching us, my reactions, good or bad.
That's a learned thing. I'd say it's learned to think before you react. So that goes into the Mastermind Wisdom University, is being wise on your actions and reactions to things or people. Because everyone has a motive, everyone has an idea, and everyone has their own thoughts of how they feel or think. So once we control our own way of doing it,
Right. We can really basically control a lot of our responses around us by the decisions and the way we, because back to that, changing your thinking, changing your habits or changing your behavior will change your life.
Okay. Now, masterminds, coaches, those were great answers. But let me take you a step further.
okay.
We were talking about an example
That's exegesis.
that one of our coaches was looking for or needed, that was their words, I need a thank you. We won't
keep going back to that.
I need
But I
to thank you.
learned.
She did learn.
I
But
did learn.
Let me talk to you about motivation just for a second. 'Cause
Okay.
your answers were great answers. How are we then to choose to think about how somebody else might be feeling or thinking because we didn't get what we wanted? Should we not choose to think, whatever their motive is, for whatever the reason that they have chosen not to respond bad, then how am I to choose to react? when I say consider someone else's motive,
Mm-hmm.
when we don't get what we want,
Mm-hmm.
we should choose to think there has to be a reason. They have a reason. They have a motive. They have some stuff going on with them. In many cases, they may not even know or be aware or understand that they should say thank you. They should give a response. When I say consider someone else's motives, we create motives for people when we do things for them. We create situations where, unfortunately, sometimes we do things because we want to thank you. We want to feel good that we've done something. In considering someone else's thought process, their pattern, their reasoning, we have to choose to have a better reaction when we don't get what we want. Because now you gotta examine your own emotions. Why am I choosing to feel that I'm owed a thank you, or a note of gratitude, or an email of thanks? You know, when I do emails, a lot of times I respond in one word or two words. Someone may send me a text message and say, do you have someone's phone number? I have practically 600 phone numbers of church members. So if somebody needs a church member, they will send me a text. Do you have so-and-so's phone number?
Right.
I type in the phone number. I don't type in how you doing, how you feeling. You know, you look good at church the other day. I type in the phone number, and that's it.
I got you.
You got me?
I got it.
Because my motive is not to hold a conversation. They didn't ask for a conversation. They asked for a number. Now, how they choose to feel about how they got the answer, because they got the answer.
Right.
They got what they asked me for. They didn't, when they text me, they did not say, how are you doing? How are you feeling? If you have the time, would you mind looking up the number to see if you have it and send it back to me?
Right. Well, that's back to what I said earlier, Chris. That's the motive. The motive was I need a number, and your answer was here it is.
So I deduced.
Right. You didn't read into it.
I didn't read anything other into it, and that's what we do. We read into stuff. We add stuff to things that we think we want or deserve.
Here it is. What do you need it for? I want the story behind why you need this number. Yeah, you're not trying to read into something that's not there.
But when you put yourself in a position to have the answers, give the answer.
Right.
Not a whole bunch of, because folks know I have the numbers. But I've determined that I don't have to have a long conversation, because if you call me up, you get the same thing. Now, if you say how you doing to me, I'm going to say how you doing back.
Correct.
If you ask me how I'm feeling, I'm going to ask you how you're feeling back. But when you text me, you get what you asked for.
Right.
But all too often, we will add to other folks' stuff when they haven't asked us to add to it. What I'm saying is understanding folks' motivation or reasoning for their choice, and then understanding our choices to give that answer, and not be offended. We have to choose not to be offended when we don't get a hello or a thank you. People don't have to send me a thank you when they send me, I send them a number or they ask for something. They don't have to. I'm not going to be offended by it. I'll give them what they want. If I don't have it, I will send the text back. I don't happen to have that number. Sorry.
Right.
And they don't have to send me something back. Well, you know, I saw you at church and I didn't want to ask you then, but I'm gonna ask you now. How's your day?
Right.
So let's move on.
Right.
About 30 days.
21. Start being attentive to your stress levels and take short breaks. Like Mama took a moment ago when we were just,
Yes.
you gotta take a break in life and rejuvenate yourself and revive yourself and restart over. You know.
When dealing with stress, what do you think would be a good method to giving yourself a break or taking a short break? I'm gonna let my coaches answer. I asked the question, I'm gonna let them
repeat
answer.
the question.
The question is, it says here, start being attentive to your stress level,
Right.
and take short breaks. How do you do that? How would you choose to do that? What do you think you need to do?
Well, I just step back and take a little time with myself. Take deep breaths sometimes,
That's the answer I wanted. That was the answer I wanted.
Oh, did? Oh, okay. Well, right, I did good. Did I get an A? Or did I get a B?
Did you get a thank you? Thank you.
So we slow down. I slow down because stress comes in many levels that cause you to become stressed. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be something that you're trying to complete a task that may stress you out. So I just have to do things to make me feel calm and just regroup.
Take breath. You take breath.
How do you determine when you're getting stressed over a situation? How would you determine that?
Many times you can determine your body is no different than anything else. It tells